You know, just a little before Marvel Spider-Man 2 was set to release, there was one of the writers working at Insomniac Games that hinted in an article that they're working on a Venom game. To paraphrase, John Paquette was basically saying he was going to listen to the fans, and Insomniac, they were going to wait for the feedback from Venom from this game and wait to see if people wanted a Venom game. And it basically communicated to us fans that that's something that Insomniac has on their minds. It's something that they clearly want to work on. And yes, there's been a lot of feedback from Marvel Spider-Man 2 specifically surrounding the interpretation of Venom here. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. You know, you guys can hit the thumbs up button or not. I hope that you will. But at the end of the day, I think we can all agree that a Venom game would be awesome. But there's some core things that I feel that Insomniac needs to get right with this game in order for it to work. So I wanted to go over 7 of those things that I feel we need to make a Venom game work. The first one is pretty cut and dry, okay? This is the biggest complaint that a lot of people had for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Not necessarily me, but a lot of people out there didn't like that Harry was Venom. Once Insomniac just flat out said that Eddie Brock is not Venom in this game, a ton of fans were not very happy. Now, for me, I'm always for different interpretations and for different studios, whether it's in the films or games business, to try something new. But yes, we all can agree Eddie Brock is the OG host. He's the most iconic host for Venom. He exists within the Insomniac universe. One of the collectibles that you get in Marvel Spider-Man 1, it is a goodbye card from Peter when he leaves the Bugle, and one of the people that signed it was Eddie Brock. And we'll get to it later, but there's some things teased in Marvel Spider-Man 2 surrounding the symbiote, surrounding the character of Venom, that I feel like you need Eddie Brock to get involved if we're gonna go any further with the teasing. Not to mention, Spider-Man 2 is the first time we got to see J. Jonah Jameson in person, so that character model now exists, and there's a lot of room to play with Eddie Brock working at the Bugle and having a bit of a clash with J. Jonah Jameson. And a position just opened up in Spider-Man 2 with MJ quitting the Bugle as well. So there's quite a bit here, a lot of wiggle room to play around with Eddie Brock being introduced and then becoming the new host of Venom. And that kind of springboards me into my next point. Yes, Eddie Brock did sign the farewell card for Peter Parker, but you gotta have a good old-fashioned rivalry between Eddie Brock and Peter Parker. It is what fuels the symbiote. It is what drives it to want to bond with Eddie. It's what makes their bond so powerful. I don't know how exactly they're going to be able to cram all of this into what could be a Miles Morales-sized game, but we'll see. Again, you gotta have that rivalry between Peter and Spider-Man as well when it comes to Venom and Eddie Brock. And this next one might be a bit obvious, okay? But you gotta throw in a couple of obvious ones here and there, just to make sure that we're all thinking the same. We all need to be on the same page in the fact that if we get a Venom game, there better be some alternate costumes or some alternate looks for the character. Venom has had a lot of different looks in the comic books, but more than that, sometimes that symbiote comes in different colors. It comes in different shades. A Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Blue in a Venom game would look so good. But also, hell, give me a cel-shaded animated series Venom with that 3D red and blue shading on it too. Oh my goodness, I would be very happy with that. They got a symbiote suit in Marvel Spider-Man 2 that looks like that, so do it for Venom as well. And while I don't love his movie look, particularly because it doesn't have a logo, his movie look is still not that bad and would look good in a game. But more than anything, I really hope that if we do get alternate looks for Venom in a potential hypothetical Venom game, that he's got one with the classic Venom logo. Don't get me wrong, I love Venom's design in Spider-Man 2, and I feel like that is one thing a lot of people can agree with. Even if you don't like the interpretation, the look is great. But nothing beats a classic. They gave Spider-Man's symbiote suit that classic symbiote logo, so I hope that they give it to Venom as well. And you know, if we get a Venom game, it's gotta be open world. We got a little taste of Venom gameplay in Marvel Spider-Man 2, and the first thing that everyone did was find a bunch of glitches to get us out into the open world so that we can free roam with the character. And it just adds so much more fun. But to kind of go off of that, another thing that we do need, if we're getting an open world, if we're getting free roaming with Venom in a Venom game, he's got a web swing, okay? I think Ultimate Spider-Man did a pretty good job of making him jump so high and so far that you almost forgot that web swinging was like a thing that Venom can also do. But I hope if we do get an Insomniac Venom game that he also has the ability to jump high and far on top of web swinging and all the fun stuff that you get out of kind of the normal traversal that's already there for our Spider-Man. We might have to omit a couple of things, okay? You know, we're gonna have to get rid of air tricks. I feel like I don't know how we make that work with Venom. And perch launches might be tough, but it might just be that it is functioning the same with a very different animation that fits the style of a character like Venom. Either way, the dude swings on his little symbiote webs. It's a thing that happens. So I hope that they remember that and that they add that to his traversal if this were to ever be a reality. And you know, they were teased a little bit in Marvel Spider-Man 2, the Life Foundation symbiotes. We got that boss battle with Scream, but in this case, it was MJ who ended up turning into Scream. But I think if we do get a Venom game, it's time. Let's introduce the Life Foundation symbiotes. Let's get Lasher. Let's get Riot. Unless by some miracle, there actually is DLC for Spider-Man 2 where you face off against Carnage as it was teased in that side quest. It would be cool if maybe that was something that they were saving for a full-on Venom game where Carnage is the main villain, but also with some side villains like a Lasher, like a Riot. There's so much lore to the character of Venom, to the symbiotes in general. To go all out with that in a Venom game, I feel for a lot of people would be a dream come true. And if we're talking about lore, if we're talking about some of the things that have happened in the comic books for this character, I feel we cannot omit talking about, you guessed it, hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notifications for more Marvel game updates. But actually, what I am talking about is Null. He was very heavily teased in Marvel Spider-Man 2. They pulled a lot of material from Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's run of Venom. They very much borrowed the idea that it's all a hive mind, that this is all kind of connected to a greater villain, and that while Venom and the symbiote in general, and symbiotes, I guess, from Spider-Man 2 in general, are a very big threat, there's an even bigger one out there. But what I think a hypothetical Venom game would need to get right in regards to Null is to actually not introduce him, to not throw him in there right away. We're all smart, right? Okay, if they're gonna make a Venom game and it sells well and it's received well, they're gonna make more. So let's start out with Carnage being the main villain. Let's start out with maybe a couple of those Life Foundation symbiotes. And then let's just do a little teasing for Null. Give us just a little taste of what's out there, of the big guy, the King in Black. But this is what's scaring me a little bit when it comes to the films, because a lot of rumors out there are pointing to the fact that Null will be introduced in Venom: The Last Dance, and then the next Spider-Man movie will have it be Null facing off against Spider-Man and Venom. That is way too quick. We need a bit more build-up for this character of Null, a bit more backstory. So if we do get Eddie Brock, if he's going to be the host of this potential Venom game, then we maybe can get a little bit more backstory, a bit more exposition about where the symbiote comes from, who Null is, so that Eddie Brock knows about it and knows that that's something that's a looming threat out there. Then we can build up the character of Eddie, his bond with Venom, their battle against Carnage, and what that could lead to down the line. Then we're talking like after Venom 2 even, maybe going into Venom 3. If this is all something that could happen, then Null comes to Earth, then it's the big battle between the King in Black and Venom. And those are the things that I feel a potential Venom game needs to actually work. But that's just my opinion. None of these are fact. A lot of you guys can now voice your thoughts in the comments below. If it's true that Insomniac is teasing that a Venom game is something that they could be working on, what do you want there to be in that game? Sound off with all your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Caboose. I'll see you guys later.